Welcome to Echoes of Evidence, the podcast that delves deep into the shadows of crime. Together, we'll navigate the labyrinth of mysteries, uncovering the dark secrets and hidden truths that lie beneath the surface. In each episode, we will dissect infamous cases, explore chilling stories, and bring you closer to the minds of those who walk the thin line between good and evil. So, dear listeners, prepare yourselves for a journey into the heart of darkness, where every whisper tells a tale and every echo reveals a piece of evidence. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and let the investigation begin.
All right, so get this. We're going deep on the Monster of Florence case today. It's a real-life thriller, you know. Just picture it, the Italian countryside, 1980s, all beautiful and peaceful. Rolling hills, vineyards, you know the scene.
Oh, Tuscany.
Exactly, Tuscany. But then, bam, this string of brutal murders just rocks the whole region.
It's kind of a classic setup, you know. Beautiful scenery, terrible things happening, just adds to that whole chilling vibe.
Right. And the mystery just keeps getting deeper the more you learn about the case. The killer's MO, the way he seemed to have, maybe even medical knowledge.
Yeah, and he always seemed to be a step ahead of the police, almost like he was toying with them.
Seriously. It's like he was playing this deadly game. And poor Inspector Marco Rossi leading the investigation. Can you imagine the pressure?
Oh, absolutely. Trying to stop this nightmare, the weight of a whole city's fear on his shoulders. But to understand why this case was so scary, we gotta look at the details. The monster targeted couples, always. Couples in their cars, parked in those secluded lovers' lanes.
Okay, so right away you see a pattern. But why those places? What's the significance?
Well, think about what those places represent. Lovers' lanes. They're all about intimacy, passion, vulnerability. It's like the monster wasn't just killing people, he was attacking love itself.
Wow, that's a whole other level of creepy. Like he was trying to twist something beautiful into something horrific.
You got it. And to make things even worse, a lot of the attacks happen near these famous landmarks. You know, like he was trying to scar the beauty of Florence itself.
It's almost like he wanted to become a part of the city's history, but in the most messed up way imaginable.
That's a good point. And for a long time, the case was a total mystery. No real leads, no clear motives. Then finally a break, a set of fingerprints at one of the crime scenes. And get this, they didn't belong to any of the victims.
Okay, now that's interesting. That changes things. Did they ever figure out who those fingerprints belonged to?
They did, but the identity of the person they belonged to, well, let's just say it shocked everyone, someone very close to the investigation, not who anyone expected.
Hold on, are you saying someone on the inside could have been the monster?
It's a question investigators definitely had to consider. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we should go back to the beginning. The first victims of this whole thing, Mario and Lucia. Their story is where this nightmare started.
Let's go back then. What happened to them?
Well, their story, it really shows how random and brutal these attacks were. Warm summer night, 1968, Mario and Lucia out for a romantic evening, parked in a secluded spot, just like all those other couples later on. But this night was their last.
It's just awful to think about. It really sets the stage for all the terror that came after. So, who took on these crimes after Mario and Lucia?
Alongside the police, there was this journalist, Andrea. He became obsessed with the case, just relentless, poring over every detail, talking to anyone who might know something, even put himself in danger, all to get closer to the truth.
Sounds like he was more than just a reporter chasing a story. Like something else was driving him, maybe. Something personal.
That's a good question, and it's something we'll definitely dig into more. But what's interesting is where Andrea's digging led him, straight to some pretty disturbing discoveries. Like, he found this hidden room filled with all these strange drawings and photographs.
Wait, a hidden room? Now that's like something straight out of a movie. What kind of drawings and photographs are we talking about?
Okay, picture this. Scenes of violence, some almost like rituals, others more, I don't know, abstract and symbolic. Together, they painted a picture of a seriously disturbed mind. Someone maybe obsessed with death, power, that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, this is getting creepy. And you mentioned Andrea putting himself in danger. What happened?
Not long after finding that hidden room, he got a threat. A very serious warning to stop digging into the monster's business.
So not only do we have a brutal killer, but now someone's trying to silence anyone who gets too close. This is intense.
Oh, it gets even crazier. That threat, it was just the beginning of the dangers Andrea would face as he kept investigating.
Man, this is unsettling. And it sounds like things are about to get even more complicated.
Oh, yeah. Just when it seemed like the monster might have vanished, he struck again. And this attack, it was even more chilling. A twisted ritual that left everyone reeling.
Oh, man. The nightmare continues. So what happened?
New couple, same MO, the location, the method, that specific mutilation, it was all there. The monster was back and sending a clear message. He was more dangerous than ever.
So what did Andrea do? Did he back down after that?
Nope, not at all. If anything, he dug in even deeper, uncovered some disturbing details about the monster's possible motives, stuff that pointed to a level of planning that's just terrifying. And his search for the truth led him to this secluded farmhouse, a place that seemed to be hiding even more secrets.
A secluded farmhouse. Okay, this is giving me chills. What was so special about this place?
Well, according to our sources, this farmhouse was connected to a whole network of people who seemed very interested in keeping the monster's identity a secret.
Wait a minute. Are you saying the monster might not have been working alone?
That's the question that started to consume Andrea. Could there be a bigger conspiracy here? And if so, who were these people? And why were they protecting a serial killer?
Wow, this is blowing my mind. It's not just about catching one guy anymore. It's like unraveling this web of secrets and lies.
Exactly. And get this, Andrea wasn't alone in his pursuit of the truth. He had help from a retired detective named Enzo, a guy with his own reasons for wanting to see the monster brought down.
So you've got a journalist and a retired detective teaming up. That's an interesting pair.
They were an odd couple, that's for sure. But their skills, they kind of balanced each other out, you know? Andrea had that relentless curiosity, that outsider's perspective. And Enzo, he had years of experience working within the system. He knew how it worked, the good and the bad.
Okay, this is getting good.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
buddy cop movie, but with way higher stakes.
And as they got closer to the truth, things got more dangerous for them too. Remember, they were going up against some very powerful people willing to do anything to keep their secrets.
Oh, man, I'm on the edge of my seat. What happened to them? Did they stay safe? Did they expose the conspiracy?
Well, that's a story for part 2 of our duck dive. But trust me, the stakes are about to get even higher.
Okay, so we're back, and man, things are heating up with this Monster of Florence case. Andrea and Enzo are in deep trying to uncover the truth, and it sounds like they're putting themselves in a lot of danger. What happened next?
Yeah, they knew it was risky. Every move they made could be their last. But they had to do something, right? So they had this plan. Remember that creepy farmhouse? The one that seemed to be at the center of the whole conspiracy.
Yeah, the one that gave me chills.
That one. Well, they decided to focus all their energy on that place.
Makes sense, I guess. Go straight to the source. But I doubt they just knocked on the door and said, hey, can we come in and look around?
You're right, way too dangerous. So they got creative, went full-on spy mode, set up surveillance around the whole farmhouse.
Seriously, like
Oh.
hiding out in the woods, watching the place.
Yeah. Exactly. Days spent hidden, watching who came and went, keeping detailed records of everything.
Man, that takes guts. Being that close to potential danger. So did they learn anything useful from all that?
Oh, yeah. They saw all these secret meetings happening, men in suits showing up late at night, hushed conversations, even exchanges of, packages and stuff, real cloak and dagger stuff.
This is like something out of a movie. Who were these guys? Did they ever find out?
They had a pretty good idea. High-ranking officials, maybe, politicians, businessmen, maybe even some law enforcement folks, people with a lot to lose if the truth about the monster got out.
It's like a real conspiracy thriller. A brutal killer. Powerful people protecting him, and these two guys risking it all to expose the truth. So what did they do next? Did they confront these guys?
No way. They knew better than to go head-to-head with people that powerful. They needed something solid, something they couldn't just ignore or cover up. Evidence.
But where do you even start looking for something like that? It's not like there's going to be a sign saying evidence this way.
They had to get creative. And that's when they remembered that hidden room Andrea found. The one with all the creepy drawings and photos.
Right. The creepy room. Did they go back there? That seems crazy risky.
It was a long shot, but they were desperate. They searched that whole room again, top to bottom, hoping to find anything that connected the monster to the conspiracy.
It's like searching for a needle in a haystack. In the dark.
Yeah.
With dangerous people probably nearby. Did they find anything?
They almost gave up, but then behind a loose brick, they found it, a small metal box.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What was in the box?
It was like hitting the jackpot. Letters, diaries, photographs, names, dates, places, details of meetings, and even money changing hands, all documented in black and white.
So they finally had proof. Proof of the whole conspiracy. What did they do with it?
They couldn't go to the cops, that's for sure. They couldn't trust anyone in the system. They needed to find another way to get this information out. a way that couldn't be silenced.
I get it, but what were their options?
They needed someone outside the system, someone with a voice, someone people would trust. They decided to contact a journalist friend of Andrea's, someone who worked for a big international news organization.
Whoa, international, that's a big step.
It was a big risk, yeah, but they were running out of time. They showed this journalist everything, the letters, the diaries, the photos, everything.
This is it, the moment of truth.
Mm-hmm.
Did the journalist believe them?
At first, they were skeptical, of course. I mean, who wouldn't be? But the more they looked at the evidence, the more they realized how big this was. This wasn't just some small-time scandal. This was huge.
Yeah, I bet that was a tense moment. So what did they do?
They knew they had to act, and quickly. They agreed to help, to expose the truth no matter what.
This is incredible. Did they publish a story? Did the world finally find out about the Monster of Florence and the conspiracy that protected him?
Well, that's where we'll have to pick up in the next part of our deep dive. The fallout from their decision, what happened next. That's a story for another time.
Okay, so we're back, and the stakes have never been higher. Andrea and Enzo have put everything on the line to expose this whole Monster of Florence conspiracy, and now it's all in the hands of this international journalist. What happened next?
Well, this journalist wasn't messing around, you know. They had a reputation, a big one, known for being careful and fearless. So before going public, they checked every single detail. Names, dates, locations, everything. Even found new witnesses to back up the story.
That's dedication. I mean,
Yeah.
wow, especially with all the pressure they must have been facing.
Oh, yeah. The people involved in that conspiracy, they didn't just sit back and watch. There were attempts to discredit the journalists, smear campaigns, threats even. But this journalist, they wouldn't back down.
That takes courage. Makes you think about how easy it is for powerful people to silence the truth, you know?
It's a scary thought for sure, but in this case, the truth couldn't be hidden forever. The journalist article, it finally came out, and not just in some small paper, it was everywhere. Big international news outlets, the whole world.
Wow, the whole world. What was the reaction like?
It was huge. People were outraged, demanding justice, investigations, resignations, the whole 9 yards. The people named in the article, the ones protecting the monster, they were in the hot seat.
The power of the press, right?
Yeah.
So what about the monster himself? Did he ever face justice?
The article didn't actually name the killer, but it gave investigators enough to completely refocus their efforts. They started looking at old evidence in a new light, new leads popped up. The pressure on those protecting the monster, it just became too much.
So it all started to unravel.
Like dominoes. And in the end, even though it took a long time, justice was served. They caught the Monster of Florence, put him on trial.
That's incredible. Andrea, Enzo, that journalist, they all took huge risks to bring the truth to light, and they won.
It really shows you, even against powerful forces, the truth can come out. Sometimes it just takes a few brave people working together.
That's a good point. But even with the monster caught, with the truth revealed, did things ever really go back to normal in Florence?
Normal is a tough word in this case, you know. I mean, sure, catching the killer brought some relief, but the damage was done. The years of fear, the families who lost loved ones, that doesn't just disappear.
That's the sad truth. Even when justice is served, the pain remains.
It does. It reminds us that sometimes, even with the resolution, there are still scars. Scars that might never fully heal.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the Monster of Florence. What a journey. Twists and turns, darkness and light, moments of hope and despair.
We saw the courage of those who fought for the truth, a whole community living under the shadow of this killer. And in the end, we saw the strength of the human spirit, the will to keep fighting for justice, no matter the cost.
We hope you learned something from this deep dive, something that stays with you. Maybe it made you think about the nature of truth, the fight for justice, the importance of hope, even in the darkest times.
Thank you for tuning into our latest episode. We hope you enjoyed part 1 of our exciting 3-part series. If you loved listening to this episode, show us your support by subscribing to our channel, share it with friends, and don't forget to like. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into this notorious case and uncover more shocking details and intriguing theories. You won't want to miss it. Until next time, take care and stay curious.